My name is Nora, and I am 25 years old. Strangers often say I look pretty. They do not know that a pretty face does not feed hunger, that looks do not pay for pills, that beauty never settles a bill. No one knows the life behind these eyes. No one sees what I carry every day. My days are hard, and my story is too. My father served in the army. His name was Aaron. People called him brave, strong, the man who always came home. But a few years ago, he went to war and never returned. With him died not only a man, but all that held us up. From one day to the next, nothing was left. No money, no home, no safety. Only fear and the feeling of being suddenly alone. In that instant, I grew up, not slowly, but at once. My mother is still alive, but she is not the woman she once was. Her name is Clara. Her body is tired, her lungs weak. At night, coughing steals her sleep. By day, exhaustion steals her strength. Each week, she needs medicine, and each week I wonder how to pay. My whole paycheck disappears for it. When I stand at the counter and pay the cash, it feels like giving up part of myself. But without that medicine, she can hardly breathe. Sometimes she looks at me for a long time, as if to speak. I smile then and pretend all is fine. She knows better. She sees that I barely eat. She spots the lie when I claim to be full. Besides her, 2 small lives depend on me. My sisters are Jenna and Ava. One is 12, the other 10. They still laugh, still hope, still believe in a normal tomorrow. I see their torn shoes, their old bags, their silent questions. Sometimes they stand before me and ask softly if we will have something warm today. I nod, though I know the pot will stay empty. Each day, I invent new words to keep their world whole. I speak of later, of soon, of someday. I work at a movie theater. I tear tickets, take money, say thank you with a smile. From the outside it looks easy, yet every day hurts. My legs ache, my back burns, yet I stay quiet. Losing this job means losing everything. At the end of the month, nothing is left. No spare change, no small joy, no space for me. Many days we eat almost nothing. Then I give up my portion, drink water, and sleep with a growling stomach. I say I ate at work. They believe me. They do not see how I cry at night, softly, so no one hears. One night, my mother's cough would not stop. The medicine was gone, and my money too. I counted the coins again and again, hoping they would somehow grow. They did not. I thought of my uncle. He had already taken everything my father left. Land, savings, every last safety. Asking him for help felt worse than hunger. So I held my mother's hand and promised something I was not sure I could keep. She gave a weak smile. She knew the truth. Instead of questions, she prayed. Every morning I wake up with fear. Fear of bills, fear of sickness. Fear that my sisters may one day leave school. Poverty is not only an empty stomach. Poverty is shame. Poverty is constant worry. Poverty is asking for time. Poverty is burying dreams in silence. Still, I get up each day. I fight, even when I am tired. People ask me why I still smile. I smile because my sisters would lose hope otherwise. I smile because I know my fall would pull them down. Sometimes I sit alone and think about the lives others live. Girls my age plan weddings, love, and futures. I plan bills. I plan medicine. I plan the next month. Romance is a luxury I cannot afford. My love belongs to my family. Yet it hurts to watch couples laughing as I pass. For a brief moment, I wonder how it feels to be chosen. Then I remember that rich men do not rescue poor women. They come, take, and leave. So I keep my distance. So I trust no one. This life is hard, but it is mine. I have chosen to carry it. I have chosen to be strong, even when I am not. I have placed my dreams quietly to the side. I have nothing but honesty, loyalty, and a small piece of hope. Maybe one day someone will see more than my poverty. Maybe something good will arrive. Until then, I keep walking, alone. This is my story. Life kept hurting, just like always. The days hardly differed from each other. I went to work, stood at the counter, smiled by habit, and counted the hours inside. My body was tired, yet my head felt heavier than everything. I was sure nothing would change, that my life was endless repeats. Wake up, work, pay, skip, sleep. Future, to me, was no promise, but only another fight yet to come. But one evening, something happened outside this pattern. A young man walked into the theater. He drew no notice by noise, gesture, or words, but by calm. His clothes were neat, his posture controlled, his presence strange in this place. He bought a ticket, yet instead of entering, he sat on the old couch by the door. At first, I gave him little attention. Maybe he waited, maybe he just had time. The next day, he was back, and the day after that too. Always the same ticket, always the same seat, always that quiet presence. With time, I noticed his focus was on me, not in a greedy way, not with shaming looks, but calm, almost careful. It made me nervous. I wondered what a man like him sought here. I knew such stories. Men with money come from boredom, from curiosity, from play. They promise nothing and still take everything. I told myself he was no different, that I must give him no meaning. I ignored him, dodged his gaze, worked faster, kept myself busy on purpose. Yet he did not leave. Days passed, weeks passed, he kept coming back. He watched not a single movie. He simply sat there. Sometimes he smiled briefly when our eyes met by chance. That smile made me both angry and afraid. I did not understand it. Why did he stay? Why waste time in a place like this just to watch a girl like me? He sought no closeness. He never touched me. He hardly spoke. He waited. One day he came to the booth and asked softly if we could talk a moment. His voice was calm, without push, without pride. I refused, said I had no time, and turned away. I wanted no door opened. Next day he tried again. This time he asked only for a word, only for friendship. I shook my head and said I do not talk with strangers. He accepted it, no anger, no pressure. He sat down again in his spot. So 3 months passed. 3 months in which he came each day. Each day he stayed. Each day he hoped, asking nothing. No one had ever stayed like that. No one had ever shown such patience. My thoughts grew restless. If it was a game, why last so long? Why did he not choose someone else? I remembered every time rich people walked past us without looking. I told myself he too would leave one day. Yet he stayed. One evening, when I closed the booth, he stood and stepped closer. His eyes looked tired but honest. He said my name and again asked for a chance. Only friendship, nothing more. Hearing my name from his mouth stopped my heart until I recalled it was on my badge. I looked at him for a long time. In his eyes was no arrogance, but something fragile. Maybe hope. I wanted to say no. I wanted to stay strong. But that night I was exhausted. 3 months of patience had tired my defenses. I breathed out and said, "Only friendship, nothing else." He smiled as if I had given him something precious. He said yes, only friendship. His name was Leon. That evening, I walked home with an uneasy feeling. I wondered if I had made a mistake. My mother looked at me and asked why I seemed distant. I said I was just tired. I told nothing. Not about him. Not about Leon. From that moment, something new began. It was not love. It was not trust. It was only a careful start. And yet I was afraid. Afraid because people like me should not dream. Afraid because our worlds were too far apart. Afraid because my heart had begun to feel something I could not afford. When I said yes to friendship, I thought it meant nothing. Just a word, nothing more. I believed it would fade like many things in my life. I told myself my heart would stay untouched, but that single yes was not a small word. It was like a thin crack in a wall I had built for years. The next day, Leon came to the theater again. He did nothing different, yet everything felt changed. There was something bright in his eyes, something awake. He stayed at the right distance, wished me good evening, and said my name softly. Hearing my name from him felt strange, like he walked into a hidden room of me. I barely answered. I feared each word might be too much, yet even my silence seemed enough for him. He sat again in his seat and waited until the last movie ended. When people left, he waved goodbye, so familiar, as if we had known each other for years. That picture stayed in my mind. In the next days, he started to speak carefully. Not much, no big questions, only small things. Was I tired? Had I eaten today? Was my family okay? At first, I gave short answers, kept distance, held tight to my caution. Yet I saw even a soft yes made him smile, like I had given him something precious. Sometimes he brought small things, a candy bar placed quietly, a book left without a word. If I refused, he took it back without disappointment. He never pushed. He respected every no. That confused me more than anything else. In my mind, men with money were loud, demanding, impatient. Leon was quiet. One evening, he walked with me toward the bus stop, far enough so no one would talk. He asked if we were truly friends now. I said yes, but only friends. He smiled as if that answer meant everything to him. 1. At home, I noticed my thoughts kept circling back to him. 2. My mom saw my silence, my distant smile. 3. I said it was nothing. 4. But my heart knew it was not nothing. 5. I stopped seeing him as just a stranger. 6. At the same time, I reminded myself daily who I am and where I stand. 7. His world was not mine. 8. His family would never accept me. 9. As days turned into weeks, he opened up more. 10. He spoke about his childhood, about big rooms, about a life without lack. 11. He talked about his dad, Mark, and his mom, Helen, about status and expectations. 12. I listened and felt the gap between our worlds. 13. Then he said something that stuck deep inside me. 14. He said he had everything money could buy, but no peace. 15. He felt that peace only when he saw me. 16. Those words hit a place no one had touched before. 17. Many had seen my face, but no one had ever searched my inside. 18. Still, I showed nothing. 19. I kept my feelings hidden, out of fear, sense, and self-defense. 20. One evening, he asked me why I thought he had stayed so long. 21. He said he could not forget me since the first day. 22. My look stayed with him, even when he closed his eyes. 23. His voice shook, and for the first time, I saw tears in his eyes. 24. In that moment, something broke in me. 25. I had spent months keeping him at distance, comparing him to others, giving him false motives. 26. Yet his patience, his honesty, and his tenderness did not feel fake. 27. That night, I prayed. 28. I asked for guidance, for protection, for clarity. 29. I did not know if what grew was a blessing or a danger. 30. A few days later, he asked if we could share tea together. 31. He wanted to be away from the theater and from eyes. 32. I hesitated long, but in the end, I said yes. 33. We met in a small shop at the edge of town. 34. He was already waiting. 35. When I entered, he stood up as if I were something precious. 36. We talked for a long time. 37. I told him about my family, about my duty, and about parts of my struggle. 38. Not everything, but enough to make the truth felt. 39. He listened without interrupting me, without pity, without judgment. 40. From that day, something changed between us. 41. He began to help in quiet ways. 42. Food appeared at our door. 43. Bills were suddenly paid. 44. My mother's medicine never ran out again. 45. At first, I was angry. 46. But when I saw Mom feeling better, I understood his help came from care, not pride. 47. Without noticing, I started to love him. 48. Quietly. 49. Secretly. 50. Wordless. 51. I never told him, yet my heart reacted each time he was near. 52. I thought of him. I prayed for him. I carried him inside me. 53. At the same time, I kept remembering that I am poor and that dreams can be risky. 54. Yet no matter how I tried to protect myself, my heart kept moving toward him. 55. Love had slipped into my life without my permission, and I could no longer stop it. Leon had now grown into my days. He was no longer only the man who came to the theater. He was a voice in my head, a thought that came when I sat alone. I never told him openly what I felt, yet I knew he sensed it. His patience, his focus, his calm way touched something in me. Still, I kept the truth of my life locked. I had never told him about my father's death, never about hunger that visits each day, or the nights my mother could hardly speak from pain, nor about the days I gave my food to my sisters and stayed empty. Before him, I wore my smile like armor. I acted strong because I was afraid he would leave if he knew everything. Afraid my poverty might be stronger than his feelings. But Leon was not someone who lets things stay hidden for long. One evening, he looked at me for a long time and said he wanted to truly know me. Not just what I show, but also what I hide. He said he wished to hear my pain, not from curiosity, but because he wanted to be close. His words cut deep. My story had been like a locked room. No one had ever asked to enter it. Tears rose in my eyes. I turned away, but he said softly that I need not hide, that he could carry my truth. That night, I began to speak, first halting, then more free. I told him about my father, his pride, and his courage. I told him about the day the news of his death broke everything. I told him about my uncle's betrayal. He took our land and savings and left us with empty hands. I told him about my mother's illness, about choosing between food and medicine. I told him about the days my money failed. I told him about my sisters and their broken shoes. I told him about their quiet looks and the lies I told each night so they could sleep. I told him about the shame of standing in stores and begging for more time. About the nights I sat silent at the window and cried because my strength was gone. When I finished, I could not look at him. I expected pity or silence or distance. But when I raised my eyes, I saw tears on his face. He was crying, not softly out of politeness, but openly. He said my name and asked how I could carry all this without ever asking for help. He said many people come to him for his money, for gifts, for safety, and I had never asked for anything. Not one coin, not one promise. I had carried my pain alone. He said that is the reason he loves me. That is why he cannot leave me. His words unlocked something in me. I started to cry without shame and told him he does not know reality, that his family would never accept me, that I am poor and in their eyes worthless, that they would force him to choose, and that I do not want to be the reason he loses his family. He took my hands and looked at me firmly. His voice was calm but determined. He said he does not care what people think about money. He does not care what society expects. Only I matter to him. He said I have become his family, and if others reject me, he will still stay. He swore he will marry me, no matter what comes, that he will stand by my side, always. These words hit me deeper than anything before. No one had ever promised me such loyalty. For a moment, it felt like my life might have another path, like God had not forgotten me. Yet the fear remained. I told him his family would never allow it. He smiled calmly and said his heart had already chosen, and one day the world will know. That night, I lay awake for a long time. His words spun in my head. I wondered if such love could really exist. That someone loves me not for looks, not for money, but for what I carry inside. My tears soaked the pillow. But for the first time in a very long time, they were not only tears of exhaustion, they were also tears of hope. After Leon promised never to leave me, calm settled in my chest for a short while. For the first time, I believed not just in myself, but in someone who wished to stay. His words did not sound empty, they carried weight. Yet the fear did not fade. It sat deep inside me. I kept telling him that his family would never accept us. He listened calmly, smiled, and each time said he would handle it. One night he looked serious and said he would talk with his parents the next day. He said he could no longer hide me. He said they had to meet the woman he loved. In that moment, everything inside me tightened. Panic rolled over me. I begged him not to do it. I told him they would despise me, degrade me, see me as a mistake. I did not want him to start that fight, but he shook his head. He said hiding me would mean shame, and he was not ashamed. He said he was proud and wanted his parents to know I was the woman he'd marry. That night I slept almost not at all. My thoughts spun around people I had never met, yet who could control my life. They were rich, respected, secure. In their eyes, I was only a girl from the wrong world. The next day, Leon sat facing his parents. His mother, Helen, was friendly at first. She smiled and asked who this girl was, what family she had, and what name she carried. She expected something shiny. Leon answered calmly. He said my name, my age, and that he loved me. Helen wanted to know more. She asked about my father, my schooling, my background. Leon told her the truth, that my father was a soldier and died in war, that I live with a sick mother and 2 younger sisters, that I work in a movie theater to feed my family, that I am poor but honest. In that moment, her smile disappeared. Poor, she said, as if it was a stain. She asked if he had lost his mind. His father, Mark, then spoke with a cold voice. He reminded Leon who they were, what name they carried, what rank they held in society. He asked if Leon would throw all that away for a girl with no wealth and no family. Leon stayed calm. He said she may have no money, but she has dignity, that she has never asked for anything, that she has never used him, that she is not with him for gain. Helen grew angry. She said I had manipulated him, that girls like me only want to climb up, that she would never allow this marriage. I was not there. Yet when Leon told me later, it felt like losing my breath. I cried while he spoke. I told him that this had been my exact fear, that they would never accept me, that he must listen to them, that they were his parents. But Leon held my hands and said he did not care if the whole world stood against him. He said he could not leave me. I begged him to stop. I told him he was their only son, that they had given him everything, that I did not want to be the reason he lost them. I told him to forget me and marry a woman from his world. He interrupted me. He said if he married someone else, he would die inside, that his heart belongs to me, that he needs no riches, no status, no applause, only me. The fight at his home escalated. Days passed with shouts and threats. Each time my name was spoken, the air grew more toxic. Helen said he was ruining the family's name. Mark threatened to disinherit him. Yet Leon did not back away. Every evening he came to me and told me about their rage. I cried and begged him to give up. But he said I had carried pain all my life without giving up. Now, he said, it was his turn. His family tried everything. They offered him money, property, and safety. They said he would lose it all if he chose me. Leon looked them in the eyes and said they could take everything. He did not need it. When he told me this, something in me broke. Never before had someone placed me above all else. I told him he was too good for me and that I did not deserve it. He lifted my face and told me never to say that again. That I am the reason his life has meaning. In that moment, I understood his fight was not only for me, it was about what love truly is. Not possession, not power, but the choice to place one heart above everything. Conflict in Leon's house grew each day. Voices turned colder, words got sharper. Where pride had been, threat now sat. Where family had been, pressure ruled. His mom lost all patience, his dad all warmth. They spoke not from care, but from power. Leon told me everything. Every talk, every warning, every line they drew. With each sentence, my heart tightened more. One evening, he looked exhausted as he said they had made his future clear. If he married me, he would lose everything. No money, no inheritance, no name, no home. I looked at him and felt something inside me break. I told him he should listen to them, that I was not worth this sacrifice, that he must not lose his family for me. He shook his head as if he had heard the impossible. He said I was worth more than any possession, that wealth without love is empty, that a name means nothing if you lose yourself. He could live without comfort, but not without me. My tears would not stop. I begged him one last time to turn back. I told him he would regret what he gave up someday, but his voice became calm and firm. He said he knew exactly what he was choosing, that he would never hate me, only himself, if he let me go. He said he would leave. He would leave everything behind and start fresh with me. Those words did not sound like reality. They sounded like something that happens only in stories. He stood before me and held my hands. His eyes were full of resolve. The next day, he faced his parents again. His mother, Helen, cried not from grief but from rage. She said he was destroying everything the family had stood for. His father, Mark, spoke only one sentence: "If you leave, then never come back." Leon did not raise his voice. He did not beg. He only stated that his decision was made, that he loved me, that I was his life, and that he would leave if they could not accept me. That night, he left the house with no property, no money, no safety, only with what he felt. He came straight to me. When I opened the door and saw him standing there, I knew my life had changed forever. He said softly that he had left everything behind, that he no longer wanted that world, that he wanted only me. And then he asked if I would be his wife. My tears fell without end. Words were not enough. I hugged him and let go of all the fear I had carried so long. He had chosen me, chosen us. We married the next day, without guests, without music, without shine. Only a promise between two people. He looked at me and said that my family was now his family, that my pain was now also his, that our lives had become one. Leon began working in a small store. He did not know this world, yet he carried it without complaint. He brought home his first paycheck, laid it in my hands, and said it was our start. I held him close and thanked him softly, not for the sacrifice, but for proving that true love exists. For a few days after our wedding, life felt almost still. Not easy, but calm. We had little money, yet we had each other. Leon worked in the small store. I stayed at the theater counter. We shared bread, tea, and short moments of laughter. For the first time in years, I slept without fear. For the first time, I believed safety was not only a word for others, but calm rarely stays long in a poor life. Leon's family refused to accept his choice. To them, it was no love story, but an insult. Their only son had left their house and married a woman with nothing. Their pride was hurt, and pride turned into hate. One morning, loud knocks hit our door. Police officers stood outside and asked for me. They said there was a complaint. I was accused of manipulating Leon. They said I had forced him to marry for his name and money. My mother, Clara, barely understood the words. Jenna and Ava started to cry. Fear sat on my chest like weight. The officers asked cold questions. They did not listen. They took my mother and sisters to the station. It did not matter that Mom was ill. It did not matter that my sisters were still children. We were shouted at, blamed, treated like criminals. My mother trembled. My sisters clung to me. I wanted to scream, yet kept silent, knowing one wrong word could ruin all. When Leon heard what happened, he ran to the station. He pushed forward and stood between us and the officers. His voice was loud and clear. He said they must leave us alone, that I was his wife, that he had married me by free choice, that I had never asked him for money, that no one had forced him. He said, if someone was guilty, it was him. If someone must be punished, it was him. The officers looked at each other and asked again if he married freely. Leon answered without pause. Yes. He said he gave up family, wealth, and name because he wanted to, because he loved me. His parents were also there. Helen cried with rage. Mark stared coldly. They tried to undo his words, said he was blinded, that I controlled him. But Leon did not step back. Again and again he said, I was his wife, that this was his life. Seeing him stand for me with such resolve, tears ran down my face. In that moment, I knew his love was no empty hope. It was a fight. He stood against his family, their name, power, and authority, only to protect me. The police had no case left. They released my mother and sisters. Leon brought us home. That night, we sat close together. My mother held his hand and whispered, Today, you proved you are not only my son-in-law, but also my son. Leon lowered his eyes and said he would care for us like his own family, because we were now his family. In that moment, I knew the fear was not gone, yet I was no longer alone, and that changed everything. After the day at the police station, shame hung over Leon's family like a heavy cloud. They had crossed every line, yet Leon had stood before me like a shield. He fought them, society, and even the law, and no one could touch me. His resolve gave me strength, yet deep inside, I knew their anger would not fade. They still believed he would return. They told themselves his love was only a short rush. A week without luxury, money, or the big house would break him, they thought. They waited for him to come back filled with regret. But he did not come. Day after day, Leon worked in a small store and lifted heavy boxes. He stood for hours, earned little, and brought the pay home to me with pride. He said it was our money, honest, born from his own hands. His contentment was real, and his family could see it. Their belief started to shake. Then they tried one last weapon. They spoke my name in public. They told people I had manipulated their son. They said I had stained the honor of their family. Those words cut deep, yet Leon never left my side. He always stepped before me and said that if someone was to blame, it was him. He said he had chosen me, and no one had forced him. Slowly the mood changed, and people saw his sacrifice. They saw his firmness. They saw that he had left everything and still laughed with me. The voices grew softer. Some began to say this love must be real. They said no man would lose so much and still stay. The fight of his parents grew tired. Pride does not last forever. Helen's anger turned into fatigue, while Mark's silence grew longer each day. Police, threats, and rumors had achieved nothing. Leon had remained unmovable. His love was solid like stone. One evening, Mark called him. His voice was cool, but no longer hard. He said, "If you are happy, stay where you are. We cannot keep this fight going. We will not try to break your marriage anymore." When Leon told me, tears ran down my face. I whispered, "So it is over." He nodded and said, "They are tired now. They know we will not give up." That night, I held his hands and thought of the road behind us. I remembered the first day in the theater and my silence. I remembered his patience, my fear, my poverty, his fight, the police, and all the tears. My heart was full. I had believed my life was only pain, but now I knew love can change fate itself. My mother Clara looked at Leon and called him son. She said he had proved true love is about loyalty, not money. Jenna and Ava laughed, hugged him, and held him tight. Our small house was suddenly full of light. I looked at Leon and said softly, "You have given me more than love. You have given me dignity. You have shown me that even a poor girl has a place in this world." He looked at me and said I had given him peace. I had given him purpose and calm he had never known. Our story was hard and full of battles, yet love stood at the end. His family had to accept us. The world had to respect us. And I had to learn that even in the darkest life, light can rise. I was poor in goods, but rich in loyalty. Leon was rich in money, but poor in peace. Together we found what we lacked. Together we proved love is stronger than wealth, stronger than pride, stronger than anything.